I implores you to go back and tell them to send someone just a little bit more impressive next time.
Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're looking at video game franchises that successfully pivoted to a different genre or subgenre.
This is true of the Nazis. They're not lacking in vanity.
Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Prince of Persia series. The Prince of Persia series has received a couple of reboots over the years, but 2024's The Lost Crown saw it make its biggest shift in genre. The original games were platformers before Ubisoft turned it into a third-person action-adventure spectacle. But due to a crowded market and the studio's similar but more popular Assassin's Creed, 2010's The Forgotten Sands marked the last mainline entry for 14 years. Bringing it back as a Metroidvania was a great idea, allowing it to stand out not only among Ubisoft's catalog, but the larger gaming world. The Lost Crown received rave reviews and breathed new life into the franchise.
What the hell was that?
Like a Dragon series. Formerly known as Yakuza, the Like a Dragon games navigate Japan's criminal underworld and naturally feature action-adventure, beat-em-up style gameplay. However, the series took a big risk in making 2020's Yakuza Like a Dragon a turn-based RPG. The change was admittedly jarring for some players, but it actually made quite a bit of sense. It went beyond just making it stand out among others in its genre. It played into the franchise's signature sense of humor, with new lead character Ichiban Kasuga perceiving fights this way due to Dragon Quest being his favorite game series. Like a Dragon has retained action-oriented combat and spin-offs, but the main games kept the RPG style with 2024's Infinite Wealth.
Like a Dragon.
Kid Icarus series. Like many games on the NES, Kid Icarus was a platformer.
He'll be your escort out of this life.
Speak for yourself.
Though it gained a cult following, it didn't stand out much from the many others, but still got a Game Boy sequel in 1991. And then, nothing. Not until Pit was redesigned for Super Smash Bros. Brawl in 2008, and fans started clamoring for a return. Smash director Masahiro Sakurai was given the reins, taking what was a simple platformer and turning it into a third-person action/on-rails shooter hybrid. Uprising was a quick-paced shot of adrenaline through the world of Greek mythology, and it was awesome. Pit was given a precocious personality, and every level was more frenetic than the last. It was far and away better than if Nintendo had stuck to the franchise's roots.
Wow, working that huge body must be a real pain.
Who are you calling huge, you insignificant little thing?
Dynasty Warriors series.
The name's Zhang Fei.
Dynasty Warriors may not be for everyone. Its focus on hacking and slashing your godlike warrior through hordes of cannon fodder enemies doesn't leave much room for nuance. But it can be quite appealing to switch your brain off and mow down foes with little to no resistance. And it's been a huge success, even getting crossovers with Zelda and Persona. While this is what Dynasty Warriors is known for, the first game wasn't like this at all. No, the 1997 PlayStation original was merely a 1v1 fighting game. It was completely fine, but we doubt its possible longevity had the series not chosen to change. With this switch, Dynasty Warriors was able to carve out its own place in the industry with its own subgenre, Muso. Castlevania series.
Still befriending mortals. I'll not ask you to return to our side, but I demand you cease your attack.
While it may not seem like that big of a divide, the differences between platformers and Metroidvanias can be monumental. Castlevania began as a platformer series like many others, albeit with an enticing gothic focus and a cool signature weapon. Though challenging, most games in the series had players still go from point A to point B in every level. That is, until Symphony of the Night took some Metroid inspiration and reinvented Dracula's Castle, along with the whole series. With branching paths and some light customization in weapons and power-ups, the series opened up in the most beautiful ways possible. Konami has tried other angles, like with the 3D action-adventure outings, but Castlevania is always at its best in the subgenre it helped perfect.
How is it that I've been so defeated?
Duke Nukem series. Although the franchise has been dead for quite a while now, there was a time where Duke Nukem was one of the biggest names on the planet. But he didn't start out that way. The first two games are platformers, following Duke as he stops a mad scientist and an alien invasion, respectively. 1996 Duke Nukem 3D, on the other hand, turned the series into an FPS giant and received more than a dozen expansions. It was more than just a shift in perspective, focusing much more on action, violence, and 90s attitude. Not many talk about Duke's platforming days, however, this shift in genre is still heralded for being highly influential. Red Dead series.
My cause is to keep this town from turning into a living hell for the folks who live here.
With the way Red Dead Redemption and its prequel revolutionized open worlds and video game narratives, you'd think the first game belonged to a different series. While 2004's Red Dead Revolver is still a third-person western, it is much more linear and much more focused on shooter gameplay. It almost feels like an arcade release, moving from level to level, boss to boss, with not nearly as much care given to the characters or story. It was actually meant to be published by Capcom, with Rockstar coming to the game's rescue after it was cancelled in 2003. The game is fun enough, though the move to open-ended gameplay and a more realistic depiction of the Old West was clearly the best move.
Well?
Oh. Poor Joe.
Fallout series.
War never changes.
There's no denying that Bethesda has made some mistakes with the Fallout series, but initially, it made all the right calls bringing it to a larger audience. The first two games, under the care of Black Isle Studios, were isometric RPGs, and they deserve as much respect as they always get. Unfortunately, though, when parent company Interplay was experiencing financial troubles, it chose to close the studio in 2003 and cancel its planned Fallout 3. Bethesda not only saved the series, but retooled it. It blended the series' roots with FPS action, creating a combo that pleased legions of players. Of course, those players' positivity has waned, particularly with the release of Fallout 76, but it was still the best call for the franchise's evolution.
I wish we could do more.
Warcraft series. Blizzard's first entry in the Warcraft series gave players an engaging fantasy world with tense RTS mechanics. It and its sequels helped make the genre extremely popular and profitable on PC in the 1990s. However, even its success cannot be compared to the juggernaut that is World of Warcraft. The franchise's pivot to MMORPG resulted in one of the biggest games to ever exist, a fact that still holds true 20 years after release. With numerous expansions, plenty of loot, and the camaraderie built between players due to its design, no game's staying power can touch what's on display here. Blizzard deserves a lot of the criticism it gets, but we can't deny how good of a decision this was. Wolfenstein series.
We eliminate the general, we cut the head off the crowd war machine. We don't, they're gonna have us for breakfast.
Wolfenstein 3D is often called the grandfather of first-person shooters, and for good reason. In 1992, there weren't many other options, and its tight gameplay and violent focus made it a huge hit. But it's a little funny to refer to a game as the grandfather of something it didn't start out as. 1981's Castle Wolfenstein and its 1984 sequel were top-down adventure games, focusing much more heavily on stealth as players sneaked around Hitler's various minions. However, the third game is one of the most important ever released, not only because of the genre it helped establish, but also because it was fun as hell. These days, Wolfenstein is celebrated for being an over-the-top, alternate history bloodbath, and it's all thanks to a change in genre. Which series do you think had the most successful genre change?
There's only one way to find out.
Let's go then.
Share your thoughts in the comments, and be sure to subscribe for more great gaming videos every day.